Wall Street Memes Casino,
I'm fine.
and Sportsbook.
This is Joe Pugh for IFLTV. We're here with Mr. S Jam himself, Adam Morallee. You've got your team behind you. You checking up, making sure they're doing what they're meant to be doing?
Yeah, they're all doing what they're meant to be doing, looking after Joe Joyce, which is the most important thing.
Taking them away from me, so we're doing an interview tomorrow.
100%, I promise.
An S Jam promise better not be broken, that's all I'll say. But yeah, we'll start there. The return of Joe Joyce. Bizarre press conference for Joe. Very strange.
He started listing his Christmas dinner out to Kash, but I mean, that's Joe, right? He's just completely who he is. He's the same in any environment, and he got asked what he had for Christmas dinner, and he answered the question. So,
I just spoke to Frank. I think there's only one way to put this, and that is must win on Saturday night for Joe Joyce.
absolutely must win, and must show the British public that he is an A-level heavyweight.
Has he got to make a statement? Has he got to look good in it?
Yeah, I think he does. Look, has he got to? If he wins, he will go on and he will fight again. When Joe Parker came back against Jack Massey, he didn't look brilliant, did he? When AJ came back against Jermaine Franklin, he didn't look brilliant. He's got to win. I'd like him to look brilliant.
I think with the heavyweight division, more than any other, styles make fights. Is that a key example of what we see with Parker and Zhang, with Joyce so comfortably beating Parker, and then Parker doing that to Zhang?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's rock, paper, scissors, isn't it? Parker, Zhang, Joyce, the three of them together. And I think that Joe Joyce is a bad style for Joe Parker. I'd really love to make that fight again. Whether Parker's team would take it, I don't know. But Parker is a very, very intelligent boxer. And that's why against Wilder, avoided the right hand. Against Zhang, he had a very specific game plan. Worked brilliantly for him.
Were you disappointed that Zhang lost to Parker?
And I was delighted.
You're going to get the rematch then, hopefully?
Yeah, I was delighted because if Zhang won, when the belts fragment after undisputed, Zhang becomes WBO world champion, and we don't want that fight. It's a terrible style for us. Parker won, becomes WBO world champ, we want that fight. The rematch with the WBO full world title on the line for Joe Joyce.
So that is the fight you are lobbying. Next, or would there be one more?
I'd love it to be next. I don't know if that can happen next. I think there's a rematch clause between Parker and Zhang. But once all that's dealt with, love it.
But Parker or not, statement made on Saturday night, straight into that mix. There isn't that next level before that mix?
For me, straight into that Saudi mix.
Yeah.
Perhaps with, what's the top level of boxing? Fury and Usyk set away. AJ's doing his own thing with Ergovic, or so you're looking at that level below that, straight into that level,
Daniel Dubois rematch?
Love that, but he doesn't want to fight.
Well, Daniel Dubois has said no, categorically don't want that
not
fight.
To me, but so I understand it,
A fight that was, I don't know if it was actually spoke about publicly, but I know people were interested in it before the Zhang fights, was Dillian Whyte.
Yeah, love that fight.
We see him on Sunday, Christian Hammer, but he comes through that, chuck him straight back in.
Absolutely love that fight. Brilliant fight. We were talking about that around the time of Zhang won. Yeah. And obviously, I don't actually know what's happened with Dillian's licensing situation, his UCAD situation. If that fight can be made, brilliant fight.
Is that a concern for you? Obviously, you're not looking at that now, but if that fight were to be discussed, you'd want, obviously, clarification on clearance from Dillian Whyte.
I think that fight should happen in the UK. Yeah. And so, absolutely. It goes without saying that Dillian's got to be able to box in the UK for that fight to take place. I don't know the situation. I understand he's boxing Christian Hammer, an old Joe Joyce opponent, on Sunday. So I think those two, I think that'll be a brilliant fight.
A great heavyweight fight, which I think could be going slightly under the radar, is Jaguar Guido.
Yeah.
Great fight for Guido.
Listen, Guido Vianello has been with us for 6-7 years. He's been with Top Rank. They've backed him. He started off brilliantly. He went through. He had a draw with Kingsley eBay. Then he got cut in the Johnny Rice fight and lost that on a technical decision. Guido's a phenomenal heavyweight. He's been sparring people and looking incredible. And I think he's going to make a statement against F.A. Jagba, get the WBC silver, top 5 WBC ranking, and he's then straight into that mix.
Johnny Fisher news. When is he going to be out? I know he's in Australia, or is he back?
In Australia. We're looking to have him in London in early summer.
Headlining?
I'm not sure if it'll be. We're looking at the right sort of opponents. Remember, he's defending a belt. He might defend that southern area. He might not. We're looking for a, proper British level name. But to be fair to Johnny, he's not. You've got look in the British scene. You've got Wardley Clark, and then you've got Solomon Dakers, and then Johnny's probably that level below that. So he's not going to be fighting Sol or Wardley Clark yet. Maybe within 9 months to 18 months. But it's that level below that. So with that headline, I'm not sure.
How hard is it to match Johnny? Because whoever you put in front of him, he's just performing, but he hasn't got that amateur experience, and the plan was always to move slow, and that was no secret.
Yeah, absolutely. Johnny's learning on the job, doing brilliantly with Mark and Jimmy Tibbs and his whole team. And so it is, he's difficult to match, but shout out to Tom Dallas at Matchroom, who's a tremendous matchmaker, one of the best around, and he really understands Johnny, and between us, I think we matchmake him well.
Thomas Carty, I know that name has been bandied about.
I mean, look, good fight for Johnny. Yeah. Someone like Thomas Carty, maybe a Nick Campbell, maybe a Steve Robinson before he fought Alan Babbage, maybe Alan Babbage.
Great fight. Fisher Babbage. That'd sell out.
That's a headliner.
Yeah, 100%. Has any of the S-Jam fighters, I know you probably can't say this, but has any S-Jam fighters been approached / in talks for the 5v5 Matchroom v Queensberry?
Yes.
More than one or just one?
Just one.
Heavyweight?
Heavyweight.
Sol Dakers?
No.
No? Johnny Fisher?
No.
Are you just going to say no?
No. I'm not just going to say no.
I'm so confused. Am I missing? Oh, Joe. Okay. A little exclusive there.
No, I'm not saying he's on it, but we've talked about it. I'm not saying he's on it. I'm not saying he's on it. But yeah, of course we've talked about it.
Something both parties would be interested in, though.
George Warren 2-3 times a week. We've spoken about that show. I think it's quite fast moving. I think there's going to be some very interesting heavyweight fights on there, I'll tell you that.
You talk about where Johnny Fisher goes in 2 fights' time. I know Eddie Owen was saying, I think earlier today / yesterday, that there could be a London Matchroom v Queensberry in September. So he could slot straight into that, maybe.
I've heard that, yeah. I've heard that there could be a Matchroom Queensberry in London. I think that would be phenomenal, actually.
Only, 2 weeks now until Florian Marku versus Chris Congo. Great fight. Excited for that one?
Very excited for that. I mean, the Florian Marku that boxed Dylan Moran is the real Florian Marku. The Florian Marku that boxed in Albania didn't have such a great performance. I want to see that Florian Marku that boxed Dylan Moran. He beats Congo. What
Florian Marku are we going to see fight week? Because obviously when the fight got made, it was then kind of nasty, in-your-face, fiery Florian. And since the fight has been made, I think he's been quite tame and quite mellow, fair to say?
Yeah, I think Florian is a peaceful man. He's found peace with himself. But still, at a press conference, he will deliver and he will say what everyone's thinking. And, when he does those... Listen, you can see with press conferences, you've been to a lot yourself, then they're kind of sometimes not what they used to be. They're not that fiery. But Florian brings that with him. I think Florian is obviously not a pay-per-view fight he's in, but he's a pay-per-view fighter.
Last one, Junaid Boston. Any update?
Yeah, we're hopefully hearing something later today, actually. We will be announcing Junaid's fight next, and hopefully it will be for something.
Something big?
A belt? No, nothing massive.
Well, obviously not big, but a good title. Yeah, good title to get him underway.
Something good.
Headlining?
No.
Okay. Adam Morallee, thank you very much for speaking to IFLTV. And yeah, I'll speak to you soon, mate. Cheers. Tomorrow when you give me Joe Joyce.
I will do.
Cheers, mate.
Wall Street Memes Casino.
I'm fine.
And Sportsbook.